What is up, boys? We are back. This is video 5 of Jacyb's day trading bootcamp. Today we're going to be going over fair value gaps. What is a fair value gap? Why are they important? How we use fair value gaps in the market, and just overall fair value gaps. I'm going to be saying fair value gap for a while, but we'll get through it. All right. First of all, the first thing to know about fair value gaps. Fair value gap is most commonly known as an FVG. Literally, the best thing to know. Very simple terminology. You might see it throughout this bootcamp. The lettering FVG. You got to know that means fair value gap. Simple. What is a fair value gap? A fair value gap is a 3 candlestick pattern. As we can see, 3 candlestick pattern. So this is the candle. This is another candle. This is another candle. 3 candlestick pattern in the market where these wicks on these candles do not cover each other. So if we come over here and look at not fair value gaps, we can see right here that this wick low and this wick high clearly like clash kind of thing. But we can see here this wick high and this wick low don't clash. Whereas this one clashes between the candle, this one doesn't. So this is what creates our fair value gap. It's an imbalance in price from buyers to sellers in a range. That's the technical terminology of it, but it just leaves an imbalanced price range, a price range that we want to trade back into and move out of, kind of thing. So this is probably like the most important thing I use in my personal trading apart from drawn liquidity. So very simple. 3 candlestick pattern, another 3 candlestick pattern. This one's a bullish fair value gap because we are currently moving up at the moment, making it a bullish fair value gap. That's why I made it green for you guys, because green commonly refers to as bullish. And then bearish fair value gap, same sort of scenario. The wick, as we can see there, bang, our fair value gap. This is where fair value is. We would look to trade back into this fair value gap and then displace lower. That is what fair value gaps are made for, an imbalanced price range. As we can see here, these price ranges aren't in balance because we once traded into this price range. We traded into all of this. This candlestick was once up here before it closed, but then it went a little bit lower and closed here, like that. So that is fair value gaps. Very simple, very easy to explain. Why are fair value gaps important is the next thing I'll go. Actually, I'll go over how to identify a fair value gap in the market. I'll show you guys some examples on the higher time frame because that will be easier to see. But literally just a 3 candlestick pattern. These candlesticks can also be made up of bearish and bullish candles all together. It doesn't have to be 3 bullish candles in a row and 3 bearish candles in a row. I'll show you that right now. So if we hop over to NQ over here, let me turn this off. I've got my fair value gap tool on at the moment. We can see here. I use a fair value gap indicator because I personally cannot be bothered looking. I know what fair value gaps are. I know how to identify them. I know what they look like. Blah blah blah. But this indicator just helps me see them much clearer. Sometimes on the 1 minute time frame I don't see a fair value gap, but this helps me know if the fair value gap gets inverted as well, which I'll teach you soon. This is what the indicator is called. This is all my settings for it. Nothing too crazy. I don't think I modified this too much, but yes. All right, coming into the market right now, we've got the fair value gap indicator on. Red identifies bearish, and then I don't know if there's any bullish ones we'll be able to see at the moment here. Green identifies it as bullish. We'll show you some examples of these fair value gaps working on the 15-minute time frame and how the fair value gaps are. All right, here's a good example just here of it not being 3 bearish candlesticks in a row. We can see here, bang, candlestick 1, bearish candlestick. Candlestick 2, another bearish candlestick. But we've got a bullish candlestick here. Doesn't really matter that this is bullish candlestick as long as these wicks aren't overlapping. As we can see here, these wicks do not overlap. But here, why is this not a fair value gap? You may ask, Jacyb. I mean, that is a fair value gap. But we've already inversed that. It's a good example. Why is this not a fair value gap, Jacyb? Why right here is this not a fair value gap? Why don't we have a fair value gap in this 3 candlestick pattern? I will tell you why right now. Because this wick high overlaps with this wick low. So there's no imbalance between buyers to sellers in this range. In turn, us not having a fair value gap there. Very simple to understand kind of thing. And price is attracted to this fair value gap. If we have a look here, very great example. This is a 15-minute fair value gap right here. 15-minute fair value gap, bearish fair value gap. As we can see, price created this fair value gap, and on this next 15-minute candle, we traded into this fair value gap to rebalance the price range, and then we displaced lower. Bang. Great way of how fair value gaps work. Very simple. Tapped into the fair value gap, moved lower. We're just looking for price to go into a fair value. And then if we look over here, I'll give you a bullish example because I saw a really good bullish example. If we have a look over here, we have this bullish fair value gap. There's lots of fair value gaps in this price range. Like this is also a fair value gap right here. This is a fair value gap. It's not showing up on the indicator because over here, price has already inversed this fair value gap. It's been closed between. So this is a fair value gap. Like this still counts as a very valid fair value gap. Don't get me wrong, but it's just been inversed at the moment. I'll teach you inverse fair value gaps in, I think, a video or two, I believe. All right, here we go. Another fair value gap. Bang. We have a bullish fair value gap here. I'll make this green just so it's easier for us to see and understand. Bang. Bullish fair value gap. As we can see, 3 candlestick pattern. We got a bullish candlestick, bullish candlestick, bullish candlestick. It could technically go. We could go bearish candlestick, bullish candlestick, bearish candlestick. Let me actually draw this up for you guys. Make it super simple and easy to understand that a fair value gap can be made. It doesn't have to just be 3 bullish fair value gaps. So without adding any extra wicks here, this is still a valid fair value gap. This still counts as a fair value gap right here. That's a fair value gap. Doesn't have to be a 3 candlestick of just bullish candles here. It can be bearish candles as well. But if we have a look back over here, we can see price creates this imbalance of buyers to sellers in the range. We move up from this. We see price revisit this fair value gap and then move again to the upside. Bang. Been tapped into. Then we see price once again retest and retap this fair value gap. There's so many drawings here. I'm so sorry. Let me just remove everything. And then we see price, after we've retapped into it, move straight back up again. We would obviously use entry confirmation, like I showed you guys in the previous video. Entry confirmation, once we tap into this fair value gap, that we continue higher. Or continue to a drawn liquidity. Let's remove these, and I'm going to head to the 4-hour and 1-hour fair value gaps, or time frame now, to show you fair value gaps and why it's like a good magnet on price and that sort of stuff. So we can see just over here, as I said in the previous video, high quality draws on liquidity, unfilled 4-hour fair value gap and unfilled 1-hour fair value gap. So my target, not right now because I'm not trading, the market's closed, but a potential target I could have, I know we are close to this unfilled 4-hour fair value gap right here. We are only 20 points away. This could be a very strong draw on liquidity because we know unfilled and unmitigated fair value gaps are a good draw for price to tap into to then displace from. Price could either tap into this fair value gap and move higher, or it could tap into this fair value gap and continue moving lower. But we know that price more than likely wants to tap into this fair value gap because that's where unfair price range is. And we want to make that fair. We want to make it fair value. Hopefully that makes sense. So 1-hour and 4-hour fair value gaps. Here, another strong draw on liquidity. We currently aren't moving to the direction of the drawn liquidity at the moment, but it is a strong potential drawn liquidity if we did have price move higher and showed us some sort of confirmation that it does want to go up there. I think I did cover everything there was to fair value gaps. Showed you bullish fair value gaps, bearish fair value gaps. I showed you how to identify the fair value gaps. I gave you real, world examples of these fair value gaps happening in real time to prove, bang, here, right here, we tapped into the fair value gap, move lower. Simple. I showed you how to find them. I showed you their importance, why they're very good targets, and why it's very good to also tap into these fair value gap price ranges to show a continuation in trend. Or bang, bang. Simple. This will all come together and merge together once I show you the whole strategy side of my personal trading, and I'll show you trade recaps and stuff I take in later videos. This is sort of just a confluence, one of the most important confluences I personally use. So make sure you, I forgot to say it again, make sure you journal this, write everything there is down about fair value gaps in the video. And hopefully that was a clear understanding. If not, once again, DM me on Instagram. Hopefully I'll be able to explain it on there or on the free Discord. There is lots of videos out there on YouTube as well explaining it. Hopefully I did a good enough job to explain it to where you guys can understand this. I'll see you guys for video 6. Peace.